Amenity fees going higher. A sinkhole opens up on Hillsborough Trail. A man threatens to rape a villager. The lady visits and gets arrested after visiting a known drug house on the historic side. The new multi-million-dollar indoor pickleball court. It's kaput. A visitor of the villages gets his tires flattened by another villager. Illegal Romanians steal $740 worth of baby formula. The homeowners advocates donates 2 air conditioners for an elderly couple on the historic side. No holes in ones this week. Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. Well, welcome everybody for another exciting day of the Villages News Updated. Let's have some more news. The Villages has announced a cost of living hike for amenity fees, which took effect on New Year's Day. The adjustment based on the Consumer Price Index impacts the contractual amenity fee for all previously owned homes closed on after January 1, 2025, and all new homes contracted in the Villages on or after January 1, 2025. The monthly amenity fee for such homes is also known as the prevailing rate. The new prevailing rate is $199 per month, according to the letter from the Village's Vice President of Development, Robert Chandler IV, and addressed to District Manager Kenny Blocker. In 2019, the Amenity Authority Committee, which oversees amenities north of County Road 466, and the Project-Wide Advisory Committee, which oversees amenities south of County Road 466, both voted to remove the cap on amenity fees. The cap had previously been set at $155 per month. The AEC has a meeting set next month to discuss the future of amenity rates. That meeting will take place at 9 a.m. February 18th at Savannah Center. A sinkhole shut down a section of a busy roadway in the Villages. The sinkhole opened up on New Year's Eve on Hillsborough Trail near the Hillsborough Pool. That's just down the road from me. The roadway was blocked off and community watch remained on the scene New Year's Day. Motorists arriving at the Village of Hillsborough Gate were met by community watch and advised of their limited options traveling on Hillsborough Trail. All other drivers are advised to avoid the area. That's the same area. You see the same picture I'm looking at. That's the same area where they called it a sinkhole, I'm going to say 10 years ago when we first moved in. Come to find out, underneath that road right there is pipes, drainage pipes, I believe, for surface water. One of the pipes broke or was leaking, and it was washing the sand away, causing a depression, and they fixed it. And I look at this, and they're calling it a sinkhole. Maybe it is, I don't know. But I look at that, and I'm very suspicious of, is it really a sinkhole, or is that pipe broke loose again? A villager was arrested after a woman in a semen-stained robe fled to a Circle K in an attempt to get away from him. James Darren Ivy, 59, who lives at 3244 Riverton Road in the village of Polo Ridge, was arrested Friday on a charge of sexual battery. Seems like we're getting an awful lot of weird stuff happening around Polo Ridge anymore. Emergency medical personnel and law enforcement personnel responded at about 3 a.m. to a Circle K at Southern Trace Plaza. A woman was wearing only a robe and was in a psychosis state, according to an arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Office. She said she had been attacked by Ivy, who said he wanted to rape her. She got away from Ivy and was seen on gate camera surveillance at about 2 a.m., leaving the village of Polo Ridge. Ivy followed the woman to the Circle K. The store's video surveillance cameras captured images of Ivy pressed against the woman's chest for several minutes. He put his mouth on the back of her neck in a kissing motion. A woman turned her robe over to law enforcement, and forensic testing found that semen was detected on the robe. Ivy was taken into custody and booked at Sumter County Detention Center, where he was initially held without bond, and I hope he still is. We don't want this guy in a retirement community. 2 women who admitted they are in the United States illegally were arrested after allegedly stealing $740 worth of baby formula at a grocery store in the Villages. Sabrian Hornia, 32, and Amelia Baltonu, 28, were acting suspiciously Friday afternoon when they were in the Winn-Dixie at La Plaza Grande, according to the report of the Lady Lake Police Department. they left in an automobile and a traffic stop was initiated on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and Main Street. By the way, I'll put their name in the picture. A black trash bag was visible through the window, and the bag held $740 worth of Nutramigen formula. I assume that's baby milk. The women identified by their Romanian, remember I said the last two things, the Romanians are back in town. This happens every year. The two women identified by their Romanian passports did not have a receipt for the formula. They admitted that they were in the United States illegally. An officer checked with Winn-Dixie, and the manager confirmed all of the baby formula had vanished from their store shelf. Both women were arrested on charges of theft. They were booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $500 bond. Whatever happened to turning them over to ICE or border agencies for deportation? They're even telling you they're here illegally. When are we going to start enforcing this stuff? I got to tell you, Sumter County, I'm beginning to wonder about the sheriff here. Here's another roundabout mishap. A villager was charged with drunk driving after crashing his motorcycle in a roundabout on New Year's Eve. Malcolm Peters Parnas, 72 of the village of Summerhill, crashed his motorcycle in a roundabout on Buena Vista Boulevard near Palmer Legends Country Club. He appeared very lethargic and had wet urine stains on the front part of his jeans, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Parnas told deputies he was riding his motorcycle when he missed the curve of the roundabout and jumped the curb. The first deputy on the scene noted that he could smell the odor of alcoholic beverage and that Parnas had extremely slurred speech. Parnas also had difficulty retrieving his motorcycle registration and insurance information from the wallet due to the poor dexterity of his fingers. The Washington native struggled through field sobriety exercises and finally announced, "It ain't working." He said he couldn't finish the exercise. He provided breath samples that registered .144 and .143 blood alcohol content. Parnas was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Bond was set at $500. And as the villages grows, we keep getting more and more entertainment areas, which is a great thing. Adding to the wide array of entertainment in the villages, Stellar Stage Productions has launched a new community theater at the Old Mill Playhouse in the villages. The production company's inaugural show, Icons of Country Music, is set for 7 p.m. January 23rd. It will be followed by Superstars of Song, featuring former MCA recording artist Ken Holt at 7 p.m. Saturday, February 15th. The community theater will be located in Theater Number 5 at the Old Mill Playhouse, the last remaining movie theater in the villages. Lady Lake residents Luann Hunt and Jim Balakira founded the theater in cooperation with the Old Mill Playhouse and Epic Theaters. Hunt, who has an extensive background in the entertainment business, said the venture is the realization of a long-awaited dream. Jim and I moved to this area in 2021, and one of our goals was to start a community theater. Our mission is to create unforgettable experiences that inspire, uplift, and thrill audiences of all ages. And we are dedicated to producing exceptional theatrical shows and musical concerts that showcase the best of human creativity and talent. Hunt, a multi-award-winning recording artist, documentary filmmaker, and playwright, has been carving out a successful career in the entertainment industry for over 4 decades. She began her theatrical journey in the 80s participating in productions such as Hair, Hotel Paradiso, On Golden Pond, and Equus, to name a few. As a singer-songwriter, the Pennsylvania native has released 24 studio albums which have produced numerous chart-topping hits over the years. She is perhaps best known for her holiday hit song, Christmas Without You, Patsy Cline's Lost Christmas song. Stellar Stage Productions' entire season of shows is listed on its website, StellarStageShows.com. Tickets can be purchased on the site. Hunt and Bakiro encourage theater patrons to join their mailing list for the latest news and updates as well as discount codes to shows. Well, we can see what's happening to that movie theater a little bit at a time. I think they're all going to disappear. I hope not. A villager who crashed his cart on New Year's Eve told law enforcement officers investigating the accident that he was just old. Stephen Michael Strachan, 74, who lives in the St. Simon's Villas in the village of Bel Air, crashed his golf cart at about 4:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve near the gate of Buena Vista Boulevard and Pinellas Place, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. When the first deputy arrived on the scene, Strachan was still seated in the golf cart with the key in the ignition. He became somewhat verbally abusive and agitated with the deputy, who removed the key from the ignition. The deputy suspected that Strachan had been driving impaired. A second deputy arrived on the scene and invited Strachan to take part in field sobriety exercises. He was very unsteady on his feet. He was asked if he had any conditions that would interfere with him taking a part in a field sobriety exercise. He responded he was just old. He could not keep his balance and would not listen to instructions. You know, that's 50% of the test. When they say walk a straight line, of course, the straight line they're watching at. But they give you instructions of what exactly to do, and they watch that. Did you follow instructions? And most people flunk because of that reason. He initially refused to provide breath samples, but relented and provided a sample that registered 0.138 blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $500 bond. Well, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, an old guy. Most old people here that I've noticed, they are very relaxed when it comes to rules and laws because they figure they're going to be dead tomorrow anyway, and so they just don't care. I can kind of relate. A villager in a golf cart was arrested after drinking at R.J. Gators at Lake Sumter Landing. Stephen Joseph West, 67, who lives in the Virginia Vine Villas in the village of Virginia Trace. Good location, Virginia Trace. Was found in his golf cart Saturday night on his street, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County's Sheriff's Office. The dispatch center had received a call about a suspicious individual. A deputy who arrived on the scene initially suspected West was either suffering from a medical episode or was intoxicated. Flip of the coin. A mug containing an unknown substance was found in the golf cart. The golf cart's running lights were illuminated. West's eyes were bloodshot and watery. He was slurring his words. He was asked how much he'd had to drink. Way too much, he replied. He said he'd been at R.J. Gators. He claimed he had been drinking vodka and cranberry juice with his sister. People were buying me shots, he added. It almost sounds like he's trying to blame Gators, blaming his sister, and then blaming all the people buying him shots. It's their fault. West said he began drinking at about 2 p.m. that day. He struggled through field sobriety exercises and refused to provide a breath sample. A criminal history check revealed he had been convicted in 2016 of driving under the influence in Georgia. He was taken into custody on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Somebody was asking about the DUI laws in the state of Florida. It's the same as it is in Indiana. I am assuming that most of these DUI laws are the same in every state. Maybe not California, because California is a weird state. Yeah, I said it. If the keys are in the ignition, the vehicle does not have to be running. It doesn't have to be activated, or the lights don't even have to be on. As long as the keys are in the ignition, this is to my understanding now, and if you're sitting in that car behind the wheel, you can be charged for a DUI. So I guess what they're saying is if you're going to park the vehicle on the side of the road because you're drunk, and you know it, and you think you're going to pass out or something, you need to take the keys out of the ignition, throw them on the floorboard, I guess, and then lay in the front seat. And don't go anywhere. I think that's what they're trying to say. I think. You might want to check into that. A resident of the historic site of the Villages was jailed after he was caught back behind the wheel of an automobile. George Bolin, 66, of the village of Orange Blossom Gardens, was driving a silver 2007 Dodge Caliber at about 3:30 p.m. New Year's Day on State Road 44 in Wildwood when he was pulled over for an expired registration, according to the arrest report of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. During a traffic stop, Bolin handed the officer a Florida identification card. The deputy confirmed that Bolin was driving on a suspended license. He was arrested on a charge of driving while license suspended and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was also issued a written warning for operating a vehicle with an expired registration. Let me hit on one thing right there. Expired registrations here in the state of Florida is something that I can see easily done by anybody, whether you're drinking or not drinking, because I get my license plates on the internet. I don't even go to license branch. I love that. Easy peasy, they mail them to you. You have them. But you can buy license plates, either a 1-year license plate or I think it's a 2-year license plate. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-year license plate. Well, after a couple of years, you kind of forget that you need to renew your license plate. So I can see that happening to especially older people. Our memories aren't as good as they used to be. A resident of the historic site of the Villages was arrested after a visit to a known drug house. Officers were monitoring the location on December 29th when a gold GMC SUV pulled up and 48-year-old Heather Allison Newell, who resides at 1701 Hilton Head Boulevard, went inside, according to an arrest report from the Leesburg Police Department. When she and a companion returned to the vehicle, an officer followed it to a nearby 7-Eleven and executed a traffic stop due to the SUV not coming to a complete stop at the intersection. A canine alerted on the SUV, indicating the likelihood of presence of drugs. A search of the vehicle turned up methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. Allison was arrested on drug charges and booked at the Lake County Jail. The Massachusetts native was released after posting a $3,500 bond. And I'm going to make a statement. That drug house at the historic site has been there for years. Everybody knows about it. I don't understand why it's still there. A villager who was traumatically injured in a golf cart crash Saturday morning was also at fault in the accident. The 77-year-old village of Hadleyman was driving a black 2017 Yamaha golf cart at about 9 a.m. Saturday and had stopped at a stop sign on Olanta Drive at the intersection of Stillwater Trail in the village of Caroline, according to the accident report from the Florida Highway Patrol. He pulled from the intersection and into the path of a yellow 2017 Yamaha golf cart driven by an 84-year-old man from Carluke, Scotland, who had been traveling east on Stillwater Trail and was preparing to turn onto Olanta Drive. The collision knocked the golf cart driven by the villager onto its side. He was ejected from the golf cart, as was the Scottish golf cart driver. The villager was transported by ambulance to Ocala Regional Medical Center. He was ticketed on a charge of violating the other driver's right-of-way. The Scottish driver was not transported. You know, Sue and I rented a house off a lady a couple of times that was a retired Scottish, I believe she was Scottish athlete. I'm not sure what she actually did. I think Sue told me once, but I forgot. I just find this ironic that this might be a relation of that lady. I don't know. Interesting. You meet all kinds of people here. Just all kinds. This is kind of an update. We read this story about a month ago, and he's been charged. If you want to know more about the story, you can go back, but it's pretty self-explanatory. A villager has been fined after shutting off his neighbor's generator during Hurricane Milton. Scott Rothkrantz, 63, who lives at 1417 West Schwartz Boulevard on the historic side of the Villages, pleaded no contest this past week in Lake County Court to a misdemeanor charge of trespassing. He was fined $437, which he paid in full at the time of his sentencing, according to the court records. The historic side of the Villages suffered widespread power outages due to the October hurricane. The power outages triggered a sanitary system spill at Lake Paradise. A villager was running a generator on his carport when it suddenly shut off. The villager restarted the generator, but when it happened a second time, he grabbed his flashlight and looked out the window. He saw Rothkrantz running from the scene and back to his own home, according to the arrest report, Lady Lake Police Department. The homeowner also noticed 2 trash cans missing from his home. When police spoke with Rothkrantz, the New York native denied taking the trash cans. Rothkrantz was instructed to stay off the neighbor's property. The trash cans were retrieved and returned to their proper place. A police officer parked near the neighboring residence and waited. The officer saw Rothkrantz return to the neighbor's property and remove the trash cans again. He was arrested on a charge of trespassing. They just don't learn. Okay, here's my take on this generator thing, because I know a little bit about this. I've never met these people. I'm just taking a guess here as what's going on. There's two kinds of generators. Actually, there's three, but I'll say there's two kinds of generators that you can buy if you're thinking about buying a generator as backup for your house. You can buy what they call a construction generator, or i.e. open generator. Those are noisier as hell. You don't want to get one of them. If you have any kind of respect for your neighbors, do not get one of them. Get a suitcase generator, basically enclosed generator. Make sure you need to know how many watts you're going to want to pump. That's up to you. You have to kind of like decide on what you're going to run, see what the wattage is, and buy your generator accordingly. I have a 3,500 watt generator. There's some other aspects involved in it, but I don't want to say too much. It'll confuse people. Basically, it'll handle up to 3,500 watts of power. And it's plenty for me. On this generator, I have 4 110 outlets. I have a 30 amp outlet. And there's some other things on there too, USB plugs, all that kind of stuff. But how I intend to use this thing at home in case we lose power, which I've never lost power in 10 years here. And I've been through, what is it now, 4 or 5 hurricanes? I've never lost power yet, knock on wood. If we do lose power, my suitcase generator, you'll set it outside so you don't get any fumes in the house. Mine's quiet. I'm not even sure that unless my neighbor actually came outside that he would even hear my generator running. That's how quiet it is. But I'll run 2 refrigerators, run an extension cord. I got extension cords out there. You have to have them. So plug it into the refrigerator outside and plug into my generator. That takes up 2 of the 410 plugs I've got. The other 2, one of them will be dedicated for recharging my power stations that I've got. And I've showed you guys them 100 times. And that one power station will last a long time. It will operate coffee makers. It will operate microwaves. It's a heavy duty one. It'll handle a lot. And that leaves me another plug for whatever I want, but I probably won't need it. I mean, I could plug a TV in it, I suppose, but I don't need it because my power station back here will handle the TVs, my computers. It'll recharge our phones. I've got enough stuff here that I don't need anything. Now, you also can get a whole house generator here in the villages. I believe you have to have gas, natural gas, to operate those. Double check that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you do. And how them work is when the lights go out, they automatically start up, hopefully, and they operate the house like there's nothing happening at all. So those, and I know people's got them. So you got your choices there. A villager allegedly punctured the tires of a fisherman's truck parked at a community watch office. A young man said he had driven his father's gray 2018 Ford truck on Friday afternoon to the community watch Key Largo office on Bonita Boulevard, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The young man and his friends went fishing at a nearby pond in the area of Eureka Mill Run and Heath Springs Drive. When they walked back to their truck, they found the rear tires had been punctured. Surveillance from the Community Watch Office showed 78-year-old James Angelo Mariano, I'll put the name in the picture, who lives on Heath Springs Drive, arriving in the parking lot in a silver 2022 Hyundai SUV. Mariana walked to the pickup, squatted down and used a yellow DeWalt power drill to drill holes in both of the truck's rear tires. He quickly walked away, got into his vehicle, and drove off. When deputies showed up at his house and attempted to take Mariana into custody, he pulled away and headed to his garage. He eventually complied with commands from the deputy. Yeah, that running away thing, especially when you're old, it ain't gonna work. He was arrested on charges of criminal mischief and resisting arrest. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Outsiders fishing at ponds in the villages has long been a point of frustration for residents, particularly those who paid a premium for their water views. The Community Development District 10 Board struggled with a pond problem for much of 2024. And I gotta tell you, this is where I think our so-called supervisors here, they don't know what the hell they're doing, or they're just too chicken to do anything. The developer, in developing this neighborhood, dug them holes for ponds. That helps for fire. Throw a hose in there and they can suck that water out to put a fire out if you're fairly close to it. Now we have fire hydrants, don't get me wrong, but that also assists. That's our ponds. We pay to maintain them ponds. We pay a company, and you've seen it on this news report here. We have them ponds treated for weeds to keep them clean. We have sprinklers in a lot of them to keep them from getting algae on them. So when the supervisors say, we can't do anything because we don't know who owns them ponds, I say, horse hockey. They're lying. They're just too chicken to do something. Okay. You guys remember that huge pickleball court that they were building just on the outer edges of the villages? Had nothing to do with the villages, but it was on the outer edges of the villages. We reported it, and it looked like a great place and had memberships from all over Florida and all this and that. I said then that it wasn't golf cart accessible, that maybe they do something later, but if it's not golf cart accessible, this could be a problem. Well, here's an update on that story. An indoor pickleball palace that had been trumpeted near the villages has gone kaput, along with sister facilities at retirement communities elsewhere in Florida. The pickleball club had been under construction on a 4.7-acre parcel off County Road 466 near the Hampton Inn. The 40,000 square foot climate-controlled club would have offered 16 indoor pickleball courts. A one-time entry fee of $1,000 would have been followed by a $100 per month membership fee. In April, a press event had been held to show off the facility at the villages, which is touted as being halfway finished with the promise of opening in late 2024. Company officials did not address the unique challenge that the facility was going to face, in that it was not golf cart accessible for residents in the villages. The company was planning to construct 15 indoor pickleball clubs in Florida and had purchased property for a club in Ocala. Each pickleball facility was expected to cost between $10 to $12 million. Now the company has announced it is going out of business. Pickleball club locations which had been up and running in Lakewood Ranch and Port St. Lucie are now closed. News reports at Port St. Lucie indicated that the pickleball club there closed suddenly, giving its members less than 24 hours notice that it was going to go out of business. Members said they are disappointed. The club announced the closing on a LinkedIn post. It is with great sadness that we must announce that we have closed the company. The LinkedIn post states, we did not have sufficient financial resources to continue operations. We have started the process of liquidating the company assets, including our 2 club locations in Lakewood Ranch and Port St. Lucie. Well, there you go, pickleball people. Well, that's a no-go. A Venezuelan delivery driver was arrested for operating a vehicle without a license. Gabriel Martinez Briciona, 43 of Orlando, was driving a light blue Toyota passenger car at about 1 p.m. Thursday in the area of County Road 476 and County Road 555 in Bushnell when a deputy noticed the vehicle had an expired registration, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. I'm reading this because Bushnell is starting to be on the outer edges of the most southern part of the villages. We're building that direction. And you're going to hear more and more of these small towns popping up as we get closer and closer to them. During a traffic stop, Martinez Briciona provided a deputy with a Venezuelan identification card. He said he has been living in Florida for approximately 2 months and has been gainfully employed as a delivery driver. Ask yourself a question. A company that hires you as a delivery driver, wouldn't you think that the last thing that they would do for their records is let me see your driver's license, I need a copy of it? Wouldn't you? The deputy confirmed that Martinez Briciona has never been issued a driver's license in the United States. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $150 bond. Come on, Sumter County, when are you going to start turning them over to ICE or Border Patrol for deportation? DeSantis sent that law into office, or started July 1st of this year, and we're still not doing it. Come on, Police Department, Sumter County. Send me an email and invite me in for a conversation, and I'll be glad to report it. Let me know. Why aren't we deporting these people when we damn well know that they're illegal, they're not supposed to be here, and he passed a bill started July 1st that they're supposed to be turned over to ICE or Border Patrol for deportation, and we're not doing it. Why is that? 2 women were arrested after fleeing a Walmart in the Villages with hot chicken, diabetic test strips, and nicotine gum. DeMonte Sweeting, 27 of Ocala, and Quanah Glanton, 37 of Dundee, entered the store at Buffalo Ridge Plaza at 1:30 p.m. Monday and loaded $938 worth of nicotine gum and diabetic test strips into a shopping cart, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. One of the women also picked up 2 boxes of hot chicken. They left the store without paying for the items. A loss prevention officer stopped the women outside the store. They pushed the shopping cart to the side, and Sweeting handed the boxes of chicken to the loss prevention officer and announced she no longer wanted it, the report said. A deputy apprehended the woman at Jennings Citrus, which is near the Walmart store. Yeah, it's right there on the corner. Years ago, when I had my own truck and I was an owner operator, I actually went there once and picked up a load of oranges to take up north, and there was nothing there. I was in the middle of an orange grove. And then look at it now. Both women are facing felony charges of grand theft. Glanton was also in possession of a vape pen and marijuana. They were taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Well, remember I told you about the elderly couple that had the window air conditioner up there, and I sent Jose up there, and he went over and checked it out for me, and we did what we could do without really disturbing them or embarrassing them in any way. I'm hoping that my little news thing, somebody saw that, and that had something to do with this, because this is great. An elderly couple in the Villages facing $50 daily fines over a window air conditioner at their home received a nice surprise over the holidays. The home of Edward and Maria Briggs at 1114 Lentz Lane on the historic side of the Villages was the subject of a public hearing December 2. At the district office at Lake Sumter Landing, a complaint was received September the 4th about an air conditioning unit in the windows at the manufactured home, which dates back to 1986. The couple, now in their 90s, bought the home in 2002 for $80,000. It was determined the air conditioner unit would have to be removed, or a daily fine of $50 per day would accumulate. The couple's neighbors were about to launch a petition effort when the Village's homeowners advocate stepped in. The VHA gave the couple 2 new portable air conditioning units, which can be moved from room to room as needed and don't stick out the windows. A member of the VHA personally delivered the portable air conditioning units to the couple and said it was the most rewarding thing he had done in this time with this organization. Bravo. Okay, how about a couple of letters to the editor? To the editor, why aren't bad parking violators given tickets? Posting pictures isn't holding them accountable. It seems ridiculous to show several pictures a day of various bad parking, and yet no consequences. That's sent in by Margie McGavran. Well, Margie, I agree with you saying 100%, but here's the thing. The news doesn't give out tickets. That's the police department's job. That's who you need to call. But thanks for the letter. To the editor, I was reading about a person that desperately needs a grocery store down south. It's too bad people don't look into the areas first before purchasing their home. Now they're complaining about stores. It was just a while ago, because of the turnpike noise, they were complaining about that. Not enough executive golf courses was another complaint. When will the complaining stop? When you buy a home, you should take into consideration what's around for convenience, amenities, and the actual location of the home you are buying. You made your choices, and now you need to live with it. That's sent in by Ken Williams from the village of Glenbrook. Well, Ken, you're right and wrong there. These people are buying homes in brand new areas just like I did here. When we moved in here, hell, the downtown Brownwood wasn't even up and going full time yet. So it takes a while for things to show up, and that's why I keep trying to tell people when they complain and carry on. I'm just trying to give them information of things that I know, that hang in there. You're going to get this stuff. You just can't build this stuff overnight. You know, a grocery store is not an amenity, so you don't build that first. Just be cool, be calm, you'll get one. And it isn't like you got to travel 90 miles to the nearest grocery store either. I don't care where you live. I mean, just think about it. If you get in your car, how far do you actually have to drive to get to the nearest grocery store? 2 miles? 3, maybe 5 tops. Life will be good soon. But he is correct, and I have said this, to narrow down your search on buying a home, new or pre-owned. Find out what it is that you have to be near, you want to do. Do you want to go to rec center every night? Do you want to go to a swimming pool every night or every morning to do lap exercises and stuff? Do you have to be next to a square because you got to go dancing every night? Just these little things like this. Do you need to be next to a grocery store close? Find out these things. That will narrow your search down for the home for you to buy. You don't need to be looking all over hell's half acre when you want to be near that thing over there. So that's what I'm saying. Just take your time. You'll find a place. It's not a big deal. Well, I think that's going to be it for this news this week. I hope you enjoy it. I hope everybody appreciates it. And please share my videos. That helps other people find me. If you have a friend that's interested maybe in buying a home here or finding out a little bit about the Villages, there's a share button on every video. It's right there below the video. Hit that share button and share it to your media, your Facebook page. Share it to your TikTok or whatever it is you got. You can take a link to any of my videos and send them to your friends. Ask them to hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button or the like button. I think they're both about the same thing. And leave a comment below, all this kind of stuff. That's what we really have. And on every news broadcast we do, we always dedicate it to our members, our Patreon members, and our YouTube members. So if you're not a member and you'd like to be, we appreciate it. The crew appreciates it. It helps us do a better job for you guys. So with that being said, I'm just going to simply say, I'll keep it short. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay alive. Stay healthy. Be aware of your surroundings.
And don't leave your key in that golf cart.
This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members.